The president, when he says these things, there are consequences. And by the way, I mean, isn't this the guy 2 months ago that said, we've got to stop this like political violence issue? He didn't even make it to Thanksgiving.
It's almost like he doesn't mean anything. Our president, I know I've said this before, but for real, this time he went completely off the rails last night. The man who is allegedly running the country banged out an onslaught of posts and reposts in a furious social media.
Chaos rarely announces itself. This time, however, it arrived wearing a crooked tie and a spray tan bright enough to blind a lighthouse. Just when it seemed the circus could not possibly get any wilder, Senator Mark and Jimmy Kimmel joined forces, like two seasoned comedians armed with a political magnifying glass. Together, they zoomed in on every strange twist and absurd detail spilling out of Trump's ever-expanding universe. What did they uncover? Let's just say that, for once, curiosity might actually save the day again.
Throughout his entire career, in business, reality TV, and politics, Donald Trump has had one and only one play: bullying his opponents into...
Trump has pardoned yet another nefarious character, Juan Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, who was responsible for sending 500 tons of cocaine to the United States, and once bragged he would, quote, stuff the drugs up the gringo.
If you're enjoying this, please subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you might realize. A full comedic volcano erupted the moment Senator Mark stepped into the spotlight of public curiosity, instantly transforming Trump's latest political whirlwind into something that felt less like serious strategy and more like a talent show audition that had gone completely rogue. Trump, as always determined to cast himself as the heroic lead of his own blockbuster narrative, instead ends up looking like someone who wandered into the wrong movie entirely and then stubbornly refused to leave the set.
It's almost as if he's a hypocrite in some ways.
I mean, you can't keep track of this guy and what he says. And I'll tell you this, though. I'm not backing down. I mean, he said something very simple. Members of the military need to follow the law. We wanted to say that we have their backs. His response.
Powered by absolute chaos and sharpened by biting brilliance, Jimmy Kimmel takes the wheel, charging headfirst into Trump's theatrical world with the confidence of someone who has watched every magic trick collapse before the rabbit ever appears. Trump's attempts to command attention are swiftly reshaped into a string of misfires that feel far less presidential and far more like an over-caffeinated infomercial relentlessly selling pure chaos.
Started at 7:09 p.m., went on nonstop until almost midnight. From 7 to 12, he posted 160 times. It's an average of every 2 minutes for 5 hours straight. You want to see what that looks like? I'll show you what that looks like, because it's quite... This is it. That's what he did last night. Do you know how long you have to be on the toilet to post that much? I mean, what is he eating?
The chaos is only just beginning as Senator Mark dissects Trump's signature storm of decisions. Each public moment feels like an unfinished art project, awkwardly pieced together in the dark. Trump's attempts to project strength instead dissolve into puzzling scenes where swagger replaces logic and confidence gives way to improvisation.
So that's how you find out about it. What was your reaction when you saw that?
Well, it's kind of shocking, that the president... we said something which is basically follow the law.
Yes.
And the president of the United States says kill them, hang them, execute them, try them for sedition. I served 25 years in the United States Navy.
Fully charged by the momentum of pure spectacle, Jimmy Kimmel's lens captures Trump's latest press antics, resembling a stage show run by someone who has forgotten their own script, props, and basic reasoning. Trump's grandstanding morphs into a towering parade of contradictions, stacked high enough to rival modern architecture itself. Riding this relentless wave of theatrics, Senator Mark shifts the spotlight to Trump's habit of turning every political update into a personal victory lap before the race has even begun. It becomes a spectacle where the finish line drifts farther away each time Trump declares himself triumphant. Senator Mark heightens the comedy by pointing out how eagerly Trump applauds himself before anything has actually happened, leaving the country watching a celebration with no clear reason behind it. Jimmy Kimmel, fueled by a fresh surge of presidential showmanship, dives into Trump's distinctive style of leadership as if it were a flashy carnival ride, one of those spinning attractions that promises excitement but delivers only dizziness. The president's dramatic announcements ring out with the enthusiasm enthusiasm of someone unveiling a brand new soda flavor nobody asked for. Kimmel dismantles the moment piece by piece, portraying Trump's confidence as that of a carnival barker, enthusiastically promoting a ride that barely meets basic safety standards.
And the posts themselves were all over the place. Obama, Biden, sedition, Christmas, and you can tell he was watching Fox News because at one point he inquired about getting a reverse mortgage on the White House. One of his posts was a clip from his cameo in Home Alone 2, which I sincerely believe is the last time Donald Trump was happy. And after this tweeting frenzy, he passed out and was back at it at 5:48 a.m., declaring Truth Social is the best. There is nothing even close. I don't know. I still think chlamydia is better, but...
Now here's the shocker. Senator Mark shines a revealing light on Trump's relentless drive to dominate the news cycle, transforming even the most ordinary moments into epic sagas of self-proclaimed greatness. Every minor event swells into a declared triumph as Trump casts himself as an unstoppable force within the political universe. Senator Mark exposes the irony at the center of it all. The more Trump inflates the moment, the smaller the reality beneath it appears. Fueled by yet another burst of high-speed political improvisation, Jimmy Kimmel dissects Trump's talent for turning routine briefings into theatrical productions that feel more like improvised stage performances than serious governance. Trump delivers each point with the amplified confidence of a performer unveiling a plot twist he just invented moments earlier. Kimmel captures the essence of the showmanship, highlighting how Trump's flair consistently overshadows facts, creating a spectacle that blurs clarity and substance. Motivated by the backdrop of Trump's ever-present, camera-ready bravado, Senator Mark examines Trump's photo opportunities, each one meticulously staged as if he is auditioning for a heroic role he has already assigned himself. The president's poses swing wildly between motivational poster enthusiasm and runaway stage play dramatic. Senator Mark heightens the humor by showing how these grand, carefully framed images never quite match the chaos quietly unfolding just behind the scenes.
In the United States goes on social media and accuses you of sedition, treason, and suggests in a not so roundabout way that you should be executed for those crimes. How do you find out about that?
Yeah, it was interesting. I was in the SCIF, which is a secure facility, reviewing some stuff. That's where all the top secret stuff is. I'm on the armed services and the intelligence committees. And I'm sitting next to Alyssa Slotkin, my colleague, also caught up in all of this. And you can't take your phones in there, so no devices. So somebody comes in the middle of our brief, slips her a piece of paper. And I take a look at the piece of paper and it says the president is calling.
Swept up in a whirlwind of victory lap enthusiasm, Jimmy Kimmel zeroes in on Trump's habit of celebrating even his setbacks, insisting that confidence alone can somehow reshape outcomes. The comedy lands as Kimmel portrays Trump building castles out of confetti, applauding every collapse as proof of his own creative genius. It becomes a spectacle of pretending the crumble was all part of the master plan. Senator Mark then delves into Trump's talent for spinning harmless developments into cliffhangers worthy of a reality TV finale. Trump often appears genuinely surprised by storms he stirred up himself, creating a cycle of suspense that never quite resolved. Senator Mark turns this endless loop into comedy gold, revealing the strange art of self-inflicted plot twists. Fueled by yet another burst of overblown declarations, Jimmy Kimmel breaks down Trump's grand announcements, each delivered with the dramatic force of a cardboard rocket launch. Trump presents every idea with peak confidence, even when the foundation beneath it visibly wobbles. Kimmel heightens the visual, transforming the bravado into a balloon drifting aimlessly out of frame. Rounding out the moment, Senator Mark exposes Trump's relentless streak of reality, rewriting, showing how he reshapes events with the enthusiasm of someone editing history in real time.
And here's what I wonder. What was Melania doing during this 5-hour Manic Monday marathon? Hiding under the Christmas tree? Eventually, I guess his little thumbs gave out and he came down the hall to work for another all-star cabinet meeting. Trump's hand-picked orange nosers gathered to pay tribute to dear leader and to suckle upon his ample teat. Whenever his approval rating gets particularly low, he rounds everybody up for one of these cabinet meetings to be showered with praise and to make nonsensical proclamations with no pushback.
Every revision grows more improbable, yet Trump commits to each one with unwavering conviction. Senator Mark highlights these contradictions for maximum effect, likening the constant rewrites to sandcastles patiently waiting for the inevitable high tide. Driven by Trump's unpredictable messaging streak, Jimmy Kimmel shifts his focus to the president's social media habits, where each post feels like a sprinting thought hurled headfirst into a digital storm. Trump broadcasts with the urgency of a commentator inventing new rules on the fly, and Kimmel amplifies the image midstream, portraying it as a swirling whirlwind of impulsive declarations. Fueled by the digital thunderstorm that seems to follow Trump everywhere, Senator Mark examines his spontaneous pronouncements, often delivered with heroic energy but muddled, confusing content. The mismatch becomes a punchline in itself, as Trump's absolute certainty collides with unclear messaging, and Senator Mark turns these misfires into sharp comedic highlights. Jimmy Kimmel then dives into Trump's rally theatrics, where entrances are staged with the intensity of a performer expecting a full symphony and fireworks. Trump moves through the spotlight like a character unsure which production he belongs in. Kimmel exploits these theatrics to sharpen the comedy, zooming in on Trump's approach to political responsibilities, which he treats as spontaneous adventures. Every duty transforms into an exaggerated quest filled with unpredictable detours, and Senator Mark underscores the absurdity by showing how routine tasks become epic odysseys in Trump's world.
He did it as a failed casino owner who bankrupted his properties and screwed over his contractors. He did it as a reality TV host known for firing people. And he's done it as president who tries every day to intimidate people with no regards for the rights or well-being of the American people. I'll say this for the guy: while he's never seemed to do much else right, for most of Donald Trump's career, bullying people.
If you thought the chaos was running low, think again. Jimmy Kimmel breaks down Trump's crisis theatrics, where dramatic gestures swirl around real problems like a magician waving smoke over an empty box. The flair overwhelms the substance, and Kimmel exposes the illusion with sharp, comedic precision, turning the spectacle into a transparent act. Cutting through the haze of these crisis-stage dramatics, Senator Mark zeroes in on Trump's amplified self-confidence, which radiates like a spotlight he controls at will. Every challenge becomes an opportunity for grand self-praise, and Senator Mark reveals the humor hidden inside the over-the-top bravado. Jimmy Kimmel then shifts his focus to Trump's debate theatrics, where answers zigzag like scenic routes leading nowhere. Trump's flourish-soaked delivery consistently sidesteps substance while fully embracing spectacle, and Kimmel highlights these dance-like evasions. Senator Mark examines Trump's camera-ready ambitions, where every lens becomes a willing companion to his performance. Trump moves as though the entire world is waiting on each pause and gesture, and Senator Mark underscores the dramatic overinflation behind it all. Kimmel also mocks Trump's mid-speech pivots, turning what begin as serious points into directionless monologue. The detours grow funnier with every passing moment as Kimmel shows how even Trump himself appears taken aback by the spirals he creates.
He was sentenced to 45 years in prison. He served about a year and a half of that before Trump let him out. And now some have pointed out this unbelievable hypocrisy of Trump blowing up boats, killing random Venezuelans because they believe there are low-level drug runners in the boats, while simultaneously pardoning a man who sent 1 million pounds of cocaine to this country. But those people are just haters and losers, you know? I mean, lighten up. When he was running for president, Trump made it very clear his top priorities were A, pardoning drug kingpins, and B, building a place to ballroom dance. Promises made.
At this point, Senator Mark punctures Trump's self-styled strategist persona, noting how each plan appears about as stable as a stack of paper plates caught in the wind. He draws sharp humor from the widening gap between Trump's boundless confidence and the shaky execution beneath it. Jimmy Kimmel dives into Trump's exaggerated reactions to minor obstacles, treating each one as if it were a tragic betrayal along an epic journey. He exposes the melodrama, framing these responses as soap opera-level theatrics. Riding the wave of these over-the-top reactions, reactions, Senator Mark dissects Trump's habit of misreading the public mood, presenting routine updates with the fervor of someone unveiling a miracle. The mismatch between message and moment becomes a comedic landslide in its own right. Driven by a flair for dramatic overstatement, Jimmy Kimmel highlights Trump's knack for turning political errors into confident struts, recovering with the swagger of a performer who refuses to acknowledge a stumble. Kimmel emphasizes this juggler catching a bowling ball energy. Meanwhile, Senator Mark exposes Trump's recurring pattern of creating problems and then claiming credit for solving them, turning the cycle into a sitcom-style arc where each reversal is framed as a triumphant breakthrough promoted over the surrounding turmoil.
I mentioned you fought for this country. You've done
I've
more
almost gotten
than
killed for this country multiple times, almost shot down over Iraq and Kuwait. I had a missile blow up next to my airplane. I got on a rocket ship 4 times on millions of pounds of rocket fuel for this nation. And then I wake up one day and I got the President of the United States threatening me with my life, that I'm going to be hanged. I'll tell you this, though, Jimmy, and we've also had political violence that has affected my family.
most certainly in a major way. Your wife, Gabby Giffords, who is a great person and was a congresswoman from there.
Amused by the cycle of recycled triumphs, Jimmy Kimmel lampoons Trump's scrapbook-style legacy building, filled with dramatic photos and mismatched captions that rewrite events with sheer bravado. Kimmel wraps it in laughter, showing how the legend grows faster than reality. Senator Mark extends the punch by spotlighting Trump's oversized persona, where every gesture, every celebration, and every embellishment fuels a story practically begging to be roasted. As long as he keeps crafting scenes like these, the material will never run dry. Propelled by the grand persona he shapes daily, the roasting remains endless, driven by a president who delivers more comedy than any scriptwriter could invent on purpose. Jimmy Kimmel sharpens the humor, magnifying Trump's tendency to turn every minor development into a spectacle worthy of flashing lights and confetti. The president treats each announcement as if unveiling a monument, while the actual substance drifts by like a footnote. Kimmel heightens the contrast, letting the exaggerated buildup collide with the underwhelming outcome, creating a rhythm fueled by the gap between presentation and reality. It should be illegal, but it's hilarious. Senator Mark keeps the momentum rolling by highlighting Trump's flair for dramatizing even the simplest tasks. A routine update becomes a theatrical performance where suspense swells despite nothing being at stake. The president delivers each moment with energy better suited for a season finale, yet the payoff rarely matches the intensity. Senator Mark mines humor from this imbalance, turning Trump's oversized delivery into a comedic engine that spins faster than the facts can keep up.
And then we have the guy who has been giving the orders to actually shoot the boats, Pete Hegseth. Pete had a rough Thanksgiving. We learned this weekend that the first time our military shot the boats, there were 2 survivors after the initial strike, holding on to wreckage, floating in the water. According to the Washington Post, Pistol Pete gave the specific order to kill everybody, and so they did. Although in his defense, we've all done some crazy stuff when we're drunk. Usually when Pete Hegseth orders enough bombs to kill everyone, they come with a shot of sake. But members of Congress from both sides believe Hegseth may have committed a war crime. Trump even distanced himself from it. So now they've changed the sign again to the Department of War Crimes.
There we go.
Jimmy Kimmel leans into Trump's elaborate stagecraft, showing how every appearance radiates the energy of a scene designed purely for maximum attention. The gestures, pauses, and self-assured stance all merge into a production that exists solely for dramatic effect. Kimmel unravels the spectacle, highlighting how the grandeur often overshadows the message, creating a performance that dazzles without clarifying anything. The comedy flows naturally from these ever-expanding theatrics, leaving clarity lost somewhere in the background. Senator Mark pushes the roast further by spotlighting Trump's insistence on turning every event into a narrative where he stands as the unstoppable victor. Complications vanish, contradictions dissolve, and the storyline reshapes itself around unwavering confidence. This rhythm makes it seem like every entrance, every line, and every reaction is engineered to maximize spectacle rather than substance. Kimmel ties the scene together by emphasizing how Trump's relentless commitment to showmanship ensures the comedy never runs dry. For him, the spectacle is the story. Every exaggerated gesture, bold claim, and sudden shift in tone becomes raw material for a punchline. Kimmel recognizes that with Trump, the performance is continuous, and as long as he remains focused on theatrics, there will always be fresh moments to mine.